Oh hey there, welcome to my home. As you can see, I live in a very beautiful villa bought with only Bitcoin. You too can become a Bitcoin millionaire. Today we're going to be talking about multiple currencies that might be good investments for you. And for this series is to provide an overview of cryptocurrencies and their growth potential, as well as long-term, goddamn the sweater won't come off, holdings. So let's get started. So you've heard of Bitcoin, but what you might not have heard of is Litecoin. Litecoin actually functions alongside Bitcoin using the same network. So when people compare Litecoin and Bitcoin, it's not really entirely accurate. Litecoin would be for more smaller transactions, maybe you get a coffee, whereas Bitcoin would be larger transactions as it's more secure. So something like a car or a house or a larger purchase. So the problem that Bitcoin has had basically from the start is scaling. They're not able to process transactions quick enough, and that results in higher transactions fees and a slower network. So atomic swaps and the Lightning Network were things that were developed in order to try to remedy these things. The Lightning Network and atomic swaps are done off-chain via smart contract, which means there's no need for an exchange, there's no need for any kind of third-party validation. So what it does is it offloads transactions off the network and then comes back to just kind of, verify transactions after they've already processed off-chain. So what this does is this allows the network congestion to be a little bit less, as transactions are still happening, but they're happening off-chain. To summarize, Litecoin has lower transaction fees, it's faster. However, the development team isn't that great, but they do have a good community behind them. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is one of my favorite blockchain assets, and that's Ethereum. So if you don't know what Ethereum is, Ethereum aims to be the Android of the world, a platform where people create applications that run on the Ethereum network. So in order for the applications to run on the Ethereum network, it costs what's known as Ether. So they pay to the network in order for the applications to run. So the big argument for Ethereum to succeed is that it really only needs one dApp in order for the price to rise. And what I mean by that is if a dApp that runs on the Ethereum network becomes successful, it's going to have more volume and more people using it, so it's going to require more Ether for it to function. So more Ether required, higher price of Ethereum. So what a lot of people do is instead of investing in certain ICO coins or certain ERC20 coins, they invest in Ethereum itself, the network. So even if one coin does well, the Ethereum network will rise. Investing in Ethereum is a good overall investment for long-term and short-term goals. So one of the problems that Ethereum has, and we've talked about this with Bitcoin and Litecoin, is scaling and transaction times. So on the Ethereum network, as great as it sounds, if all these applications are running on it, it's going to be slower. I mean, today we had something called CryptoKitties, you've probably heard of it, where people are buying like digital cats and trading cats and breeding them and selling them. And that caused a really big noticeable network congestion on the Ethereum network. A solution to that is called Raiden. So Raiden is very similar to what the Lightning Network tries to do, but it's for Ethereum. So it tries to take transactions off the network and allow for, coin to coin or like ICO to ERC20 coin to ERC20 coin transactions off the chain and then process them or validate them back on the chain. Raiden is still in development. It still has a lot of hurdles to overcome. So if I would invest slowly, and I would expect really high returns probably when they start getting a test net going, when they actually show what kind of transaction speeds they're getting. So maybe, around the end of 2018 probably is when you'd start seeing some things, maybe sooner if they hit their milestones sooner. So speaking of coins that hit their milestones sooner, we're going to talk about EOS. So EOS is kind of controversial. A lot of people think it's a scam coin just by the way that they reinvest their Ethereum that they've gotten from their token sales. EOS is a generation 3 cryptocurrency, a lot like IOTA. And if you look at the IOTA price, IOTA is somewhere around, I think, $8 billion. EOS is around $2 billion. EOS hit their Dawn 2.0 testnet release actually today. And I mean, if you just look at the profitability, the potential that EOS has is really hitting milestones quick. That's what you have to look at. It's hitting their milestones quicker and they're actually releasing product. They're very transparent. So EOS is generally considered a good buy. And I mean, over the last couple of weeks, I mean, it was $1 a couple weeks ago. Now it's approaching $4. So I would say try to get in as soon as you can and just ride it out for a year or so. And that's when we'll really see, you know, the really big milestones. The new SDKs are coming out, the new cross-chain communications, all this stuff that that EOS is promising and EOS has shown. When those things start getting implemented, then you'll see the price of the coin rise. So again, EOS is a ERC20 coin. It's also an ICO. And the ICO ends technically in June of 2018. So again, be very careful when you invest in ICOs, as you know, the scam that we saw with Confido. All right, so the next coin we're gonna talk about is IOTA coin. So IOTA coin, if you follow crypto at all, you've probably heard about IOTA coin in the news. Recently, Microsoft and IOTA partnered together to create their Internet of Things marketplace. So that's really big news that when a coin partners with such a big and legitimate corporation like Microsoft. So that, as well as the exchanges in Korea, are opening up. So what that means, when coins hit new exchanges, maybe they hit Bitfinex or Binance or something like that, you'll see a spike in the price of the coin. And the reason why that happens is because it's simply available to more people. More people are gonna invest in it, or the people who want to invest in it that couldn't before, now they can. So those two huge things are what's gonna drive IOTA coin up for quite some time. So you can already see the growth that IOTA coin has been having lately, and you can pretty much expect that it will start to grow a little bit longer, but don't wait too long because it'll definitely correct.
Yeah, I was hoping that we'd be able to cut it so you can see a fire in the background. That doesn't seem like it.
Look at it. Very clean and sanitary and definitely not filled with mold and rats.
Fuck.
Shit, man. Oh, hey there. Welcome to our first investing channel. Fuck.